This just happened, and it's becoming the #1 topic among fans. The Chargers just signed a player nobody expected. It's the kind of signing that could change everything next season. I got some hot exclusive information that hasn't yet appeared on the major portals. But before I reveal everything, if you truly love the Bolts, like this now and subscribe to the channel, because what I'm about to tell you is going to be hot. Chargers fans, hold on to your seats because the preseason in Los Angeles is heating up. It's no exaggeration to say that the atmosphere behind the scenes is more heated than the fourth quarter of a tied game. Intense competition. For the backup quarterback spot, starters unexpectedly returning to the field in the preseason, urgent changes to the offensive line, and reinforcements arriving on defense. All of this happening at the same time. Today, you'll learn all the details that are moving Jim Harbaugh's team and how these decisions could completely change the course of the season. And I'll tell you right now, there are important players at risk of losing their place, while others are seizing a golden opportunity to shine. Let's start with the saga that's got everyone on edge. Trey Lance or Taylor Heinicke? When the offseason began, it seemed like everything was decided. Taylor Heinicke would once again be Justin Herbert's reliable backup. After all, he already knew the system and had fulfilled his role last year. But the Chargers decided to heat up the competition by bringing in Trey Lance via free agency, and what was supposed to be just healthy competition turned into a duel that's shaking up the preseason. Lance took the field eager to prove himself. In the Hall of Fame game against the Detroit Lions, he was a standout performer. 13 completions in 20 attempts, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns. It was a debut that dazzled the coaching staff and the fans. However, the following week against the New Orleans Saints, his shine faded a bit. Lance completed just 50% of his passes for 55 yards, but showed mobility, rushing 7 times for 48 yards and a touchdown, something Heinicke doesn't offer. On the other hand, Heinicke experienced the opposite. In his chance against the Saints, he completed just 1 pass in 5 attempts for a measly 8 yards, a performance that, for many analysts, practically scuppered his chances of remaining as QB2. Daniel Popper of The Athletic has already stated, Lance is ahead. More than that, Popper predicts that the Chargers could cut Heinicke and even seek a trade to capitalize on his value as an experienced backup. Now, imagine the impact of this. A player many took for granted on the roster could be on the way out, while Lance, previously seen as a midterm prospect, gains space. And to make the competition even more heated, Harbaugh announced that Justin Herbert and other starters will be on the field in the next game against the Los Angeles Rams. And that's where the heat gets even more intense. If there's one thing the Chargers preseason doesn't normally offer fans, it's Justin Herbert on the field. But 2025 is here to break with tradition. Jim Harbaugh surprised everyone by confirming that the number 10, along with several starters, will be in action this Saturday against the Los Angeles Rams. Herbert is expected to play 1 or, at most, 2 offensive series, a brief appearance, but enough to warm up the engine before the start of the regular season. Among those who will be sidelined to avoid any risk are 2 undisputed leaders of the squad, Khalil Mack and Derwin James, who were rested by the coaching staff. This decision came just days after the team canceled a joint practice with another opponent, claiming the squad was too injured to handle the intensity of the activity. So far, the starters haven't had any high-level practice against direct opponents in the preseason. Harbaugh wants them to experience the real pace of the game, with pressure, quick adjustments, and the atmosphere that only a duel against another NFL team can bring. However, the decision to put the franchise QB on the field in a non-point game is dividing opinion. More cautious fans worry about potential injuries, while others celebrate the chance to see the star up close, even if only briefly. And Herbert's return isn't just important for the number 10. It will also be the ideal stage to evaluate the performance of young talents like Ladd McConkey and Joe Alt, who have joined the first team. And it is precisely Joe Alt who is at the center of a strategic shift that could determine Herbert's safety throughout the year. The reason? The painful loss of Rashawn Slater, one of the league's best left tackles, whose injury ended his season before it even started. Without Slater, the Chargers need to reinvent themselves. And that's where Cameron Fleming, a veteran who once wore Patrice's jersey, comes into play. The Chargers, Cowboys, Giants, and Broncos. Experienced, Fleming started 15 games for the Broncos in 2022, effectively protecting Russell Wilson and achieving a respectable PFF grade of 72.6, the 33rd best among 140 eligible tackles. Fleming has already visited the Chargers training facility, and even without a signed contract, the team's interest is evident. Joe Alt is expected to take over at left tackle, while Trey Pipkins maintains the right side. Fleming would add depth, act as emergency insurance, and even compete for position if Pipkins doesn't live up to expectations given the increased responsibilities. This move is vital because protecting Herbert is a top priority for Harbaugh. Stable offensive line not only preserves the quarterback's health, but is also essential to establishing a consistent running game, a key element of the new coach's philosophy. And if there's one thing clear from this preseason, it's that the Chargers aren't waiting for the storm to arrive. They're already reinforcing every department to enter the season ready to compete. The Chargers' secondary gained 2 important reinforcements this week: Harrison Hand and Nehemiah Shelton. These moves aren't just additions to fill out the roster, but rather part of Jim Harbaugh's clear strategy to keep the defense solid and prepared to face any explosive attack that comes their way in the regular season. Harrison Hand, the 2020 draft pick of the Minnesota Vikings, isn't a name that thrives in the spotlight, but he carries a wealth of experience. Over the course of his career, he's played for the Giants, Bears, and Falcons, playing in different defensive schemes and adapting to multiple roles in the secondary. His numbers so far, 34 tackles, 4 pass breakups, 1 interception, and 1 forced fumble, may seem modest, but they demonstrate a player who knows how to capitalize on opportunities when he's on the field. He's the kind of player who may not be an immediate starter, but who delivers reliably to contribute both in man-to-man coverage and in deeper zones. Shelton trained with the team alongside Hand and another cornerback before signing, demonstrating that the coaching staff wanted to closely monitor his adaptation to the system before finalizing the deal. These signings came on the heels of some bad news: the injury to undrafted rookie Eric Rodgers. Rodgers was injured while covering a kickoff in the 27-13 victory over the New Orleans Saints, a moment that demonstrated how football can change fortunes in a single play. To make room on the roster, the Chargers had to release injure not only Rodgers, but also Jordan Oladokin, another rookie cornerback and UDFA, as well as wide receiver Dez Fitzpatrick. These cuts and signings clearly demonstrate that Harbaugh is building a roster with a long-term mindset. The NFL demands physical and mental toughness, and depth at key positions like the secondary can be the difference between survival and failure in critical moments. More than ever, the coach seems focused on creating a versatile group capable of adjusting the game plan and maintaining intensity even when injuries inevitably arise. The message is simple: the Chargers don't just want to compete, they want to endure until the very last second of the season. From the backup quarterback, to the offensive line that must protect Herbert, to the defense tasked with holding off explosive attacks, everything is being fine-tuned down to the smallest detail. Every name added or cut now could be the deciding factor in tight games in the future. Harbaugh knows this, and fans should too. Every move this preseason is part of a much larger chessboard, where each piece could determine the team's fate in 2025. If you enjoyed the news and want to stay up to date with everything that's happening in the locker room, subscribe to our channel here and turn on notifications.